Alright, I'm finally on the road on my way back home where I belong in Wallace, Idaho. Well, I'm gonna be there for about a week, but if it turns out that I get really accepted for who I am, and especially if I can find work there, I might decide just to call it a home. We'll have to see. We got a week to decide on that. But a couple of my subscribers asked me, why do I care about what people think of me? And the truth is, I really don't, when it doesn't affect my career. The problem is that when my colleagues, my boss, when important figures in our local society have feelings about me that color perceptions and that change things, right? So for example, why do blacks care about other people's perception on them? Well, what happened to George Floyd, what happened to Breonna Taylor and all that. I'm sure if all people did was make fun of black people for their skin color, I don't think they would care either, right? It's when the perception colors things that actually have impact on real life, right? So for example, right now, the tutoring center where I work at right now, I had a little bit of drama when I started it, actually. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. I was doing a lot of tutoring online. I was teaching at a university online. I had some other gig work that was local in Phoenix, nothing big. But I was looking forward to in-person work again. To give you an idea of how much I missed it at that point, as much as I loved Phoenix, I was willing to move back to Seattle to do some in-person work. And I talked to what would become my boss back in early summer. He didn't have anything locally just yet. He said he would call me back. I called him midsummer. He would call me back. And then he called me in late September saying, would you like to start on Tuesday? I think it was on a Thursday or a Friday that he called me. Would you like to start on Tuesday? And like, well, I could start the Tuesday after that. But he explained to me that if he gave the shift to somebody else, it might be hard to take it back. It was a Thursday. I was looking at the weather between Phoenix and Seattle. Okay, I can make it. And I spent 3 days on there. I think I recorded a number of videos. I unfortunately, all the stops I made on the way, I could only go for a few hours, right? Because I had to get back to Seattle. What was really funny is, as I was approaching Seattle, I went to a truck stop to take a shower, to do some laundry, and then I drove straight to the tutoring center. That's how little time I had to spare. Now, yes, I understand there are business needs, but I want to think that if this were a family having to relocate from Phoenix, I don't think it would have played out the same way. I have a hard time believing that. I've accommodated families who have had to relocate like that, right? Filled in for a shift, or certainly during COVID, right? See, it's not that people are just laughing at me for being single. It actually has an impact on my work, right? Now, okay, you might say that we're in a crisis, right? We're just reopening from COVID. Maybe this is a once in a lifetime. Just put up with it. Well, it's not that, right? Even before COVID, a lot of times what my colleagues do is considered a work-life balance, whereas if I did more or less the same thing, it's a waste of time, right? On a performance review, this guy is not a team player. You know, he was out in Wallace, you know, when this was going on. Meanwhile, my coworkers, they take their kids to Disney World. Oh, this is a great team leader. He has a great family life as well. It doesn't exactly come out in those words, but you get the idea, right? Many years ago, long before COVID, I was competing in the Computer Olympiad. I still do, but back in the day, you actually had to travel somewhere, right? Nowadays, you just click on a button, right? And oftentimes, get a lot of flack for, you know, not a team player. You know, he was away. He's often staying up late to write his computer games. Meanwhile, my colleagues, they help their kids with various projects. You know, take them to some kind of sporting event. Oh, this is a good family man, and you get the idea, right? I often get last pick at, actually this vacation that I'm going on right now was very unplanned, right? My boss was like, actually next week we're kind of slow if you want to take off, right? And I didn't know about it until like the week before, and now I don't even have a motel over in Wallace, but that's okay. I would rather deal with that than all the prejudice, right? Okay, I thought I would point out, if all people wanted to do was to talk about, you know, and make fun about singles, that's one thing, right? To act on it and to skew performance reviews, to skew politics, that's quite another, right? George Floyd didn't become who he was because somebody just laughed at him for being black, right? I'm sure he wouldn't have responded to that, right?